2. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being patient with us once again. The simple truth as to why we're late is I didn't actually schedule the booking for this evening, so that's on me. There's going to be no preview for Out of the Shadows tonight. I will try and get it done for next Sunday. So it means I'm going to be working on that extensively when I've got time off in the week. And then, because what you got to remember is I did the stupid thing last week of rushing the editing and the rendering all at the last minute. So, like I say, that one's on me. But I'm going to be working tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, just to get, most of the editing done, and then have the final finishing touches done on Thursday, Friday, so that then Saturday, Sunday I can just focus on getting other topics put in, because there are some times where the editing is a walk in the park, and there are other times where some things that are probably only on the screen for, say, no more than 2 to 3 seconds, there's a bunch of intricate editing pieces to put in there just to have them done in the order that I'm trying to get them at. So, and it doesn't help at times that Vegas can be a little temperamental with certain things. Because the one I'm using at the moment, which is Vegas 17 Platinum, there are times where it will crash on me, whereas Vegas 14, which is what I had before, never had this problem. Vegas 12, whenever I'm doing anything intricate with regards to 3D graphics, particularly with regards to credits, which is why I switched over to Hit Film Express, because all I got to do is copy and paste the text in, and it doesn't crash at all. Whereas with this one, like I say, it just gets so temperamental with me. So I'll look to get that done, and then I'll be working on the season finale, which, if I'm being realistic with this one, because if I say we do Out of the Shadows for November 28th, realistically, I think the best time to do the season finale will be 4 weeks after that, because just like how last year we left the season finale as the last Sunday before Christmas, I think I'm going to play a similar thing this year, because this one is going to be somewhat... It's going to require a lot of editing. And it's going to require a few alterations, because Retro is going to figure into this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and as ever, he'll be acting like a complete idiot, but that's the whole purpose of the character. He's just an exaggerated version of how it was much younger. I still act like a goofball pretty much many occasions these days, but I know when to pull back and be like, don't do it. Whereas back in the day, I'd be like, get on my horse, I'm going to go and do this gag, no matter how ridiculous it is, and go crashing over the wall, and then pull the Mick Foley thumbs up, hey, I'm good. And it's just like, whereas these days, I'm like, no, I've done this before. And it would result in a backyard wrestling match with Oni.
Oh God, no! No.
There's an image I'm never going to get out of my head. Thank you very much for that.
This is now a tables match! Everyone's like, run!
We're like, no, we're leaving, let's go.
But once that's done, because then it'll be Oni's 12-hour live stream Christmas Eve where Steve and I have a surprise. Oh wait.
No.
No. It's all good. But it'll just be like this sort of thing where it's like, what the heck? And then in between that's when I'm gonna relax a little bit over the Christmas period and then start work on season 17 in small doses, because I don't want a repeat of last year, because for all intents and purposes this season should have finished up around May, but because of the place where I was mental health wise, I was not in a fit state to do it, even though I came back a month later to do the live streams, because it was something to do and it was just something to ease myself back in, and had a horde load of things to do just to get to that point. And then everyone knows that, you know, I was going to be moving to a new accommodation, but I was like, you know, I'm not leaving this house until I put out one last review for it. And as much as I despise Jurassic Park 3, it was something that I could feed into, because it's something I know. So that was the reason for doing that. Then it was an opportunity to go back, not necessarily I suppose it is redoing a review, but it's looking at it from a fresh perspective, because I'm not the same reviewer that I was 7 years ago. I mean, yeah, I would say that the original review from a writing standpoint is satisfying, whereas now when you look at the 20th anniversary edition, it's like, oh wait, there's actually a few bits in there that actually makes a little bit more sense. And of course, adding Wynn's comedic voiceover talent that she has, I love that girl. It's just this idea of where she has the raptors go, I want human and pineapple. It's like I said, it's why we love her. She's so adorable. Mm-hmm. Hi to Sean Retro. So yeah, you know, like the last two season finales around Christmas time, I'm gonna do my utmost to make this feel as special as possible, because no one saw it coming with Back to the Future Part 2. No one saw it coming with Superman's 42nd anniversary last year. I know the story of it, Sean, but because other people that are usually in this podcast haven't seen it, I will not be saying a word. Actually, what did I do as a season finale for 2018? That's actually an interesting question. Let me see. What did I do? Because, like I say, 2019 was Back to the Future Part 2. So, see. So that was season 13. So I want to go season... the season finale for 2018 was Batman Returns.
Ooh.
But if you recall, with that one, all it was a much more upscaled video with regards to editing, and I actually recorded new voiceovers for that one. Because keep in mind, the microphone I was using at the time... Here's the thing. Compared to my Yeti, yeah, it's insignificant, but for what I was using for at the time, it served its purposes. But no, ever since Kaiju gave me the advice and somewhat insistence, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, into the ribs, like, you need to get this one because this will do so much more for you. And the man knows his stuff when it comes to equipment, and it's the same thing with regards to camera audio, because when I played back the review for the 2014 Ninja Turtles, I think I can safely say for the first time in good Lord knows how long, the voiceover and camera audio were finally in sync. Because there have been some issues ever since I upgraded my camera and having to use an external mic. But as soon as I got the Rodon shotgun mic, it's a godsend, because even when you turn the volume and the gain up on it, it still comes through, much clearer, but it's able to pick up much more audio without that horrible hissing white noise effect in the background, which is ugh. So I'm gonna look to get that done, and do the season 16 finale justice, and then hopefully full steam into season 17, where this time that season will end up in May like it's supposed to. And one particular review, I'm hopefully going to be recruiting the services of one random pixel artist.
Ooh.
Only for the simple reason, this comic book character in particular, his knowledge of this one is encyclopedic, or even Wikipedic.
Oh, wow.
He knows this character inside and out.
Well, he does like to read up on comic books.
He does. That's why he's the best.
Mm-hmm.
I can also reveal, because I did get some feedback from a Facebook post I put out, I think it was earlier last week. Normally I'm very secretive with future reviews, but I simply put out, what do you say to a future 25th anniversary of this? And all it was a screenshot of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet on the bow of Titanic, and pretty much everyone responded. Some people said, in comments, said, yeah, I got no problem with this, go ahead with it. One lady who is known as Emiya to her friend, she says, absolutely, that's my fave. And the other people responded with with emotes, either ranging from thumbs up or to the hearts up. Because what you gotta remember, Titanic touched a lot of people in so many ways, because, yeah, obviously, the teenagers and people in their early 20s, can relate to Jack and Rose's situation, but there's a lot of people in their late 30s to their early 60s that can find something relatable to that as well. So I can reveal, next April there will be a 25th anniversary retrospective of James Cameron's Titanic.
Nice.
And as it happens, I'm already working on the script.
It.
Casting, that's going to require a lot of time with me doing voiceovers and knowing how I can be inconsistent with regards to doing voiceovers, where I'll get momentum going and then all that happens is a slight trip of the tongue and it's like, I've got to do that all over again, haven't I? Dang it.
I take it that will mean lots of bloopers, potentially.
There probably will be some with regards to camera bloopers. But this one, there is still going to be that real features approach with a little bit of SKL cameo humor, but it's not going to be done in a way it distracts from what the review is trying to do. I think this one, you know, like how I like to use that term within movies like The Mummy, where it's humor within action, where it's like it's a quick gag and then it's back to the action. It's just like, it's there, go, let's keep going. You know, it doesn't distract. It's there just to be appropriately placed where it needs to be. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate Titanic more as time has gone on, because when the movie came out originally, because I was mid-teens at the time, I didn't really appreciate it what it was, because as I've said before, your perception and your understanding as a child or as an adolescent compared to what it is when you become more of a fully mental adult, and it varies between person to person, whether it's, you know, your mid-20s or your late 20s, where, you know, you're finally there, you know, you're still, you know, able to have the sense of humor that you had as a kid, but you know where to even it out and level off. And I think when I got to about maybe 23, 24, I think I kind of saw what the movie was trying to do, whereas, and I think most, you know, kids my age at the time could relate to, it's like, where's the bit where Kate Winslet does that scene, you know, but, you know, teenagers, that's all you need to remember. Whereas now, looking at it, you know, from a much fresher perspective, I see the nuances and I see what the story stands for, and I like the fact that James Cameron actually treats the history and legacy with Titanic with a lot of respect. Even when he goes down on deep dives to the wreck site, he takes a moment to remember where he is and what, you know, what is resting here. Then he goes about his business and, you know, exploring around the site, and he has probably said that will probably be his last dive, because what people need to remember is that whenever they go down to that wreck, you have to take a specific medication to where, because you're going to be down there for at least 24 hours, you need to essentially have medication that stops you going to the bathroom for a day. So there have been some side effects to where, you know, the eyes might go a little bloodshot, but that's just like the medication reacting. And even Tony Robinson, who some people may remember as Baldrick from Blackadder, he went down there on a dive, and I think James Cameron said that will probably be his last dive, because what you gotta remember is James Cameron's getting up there in the years. He's
Yep.
I mean, he's still a good director, but in terms of physicality, to be able to do what someone asks of him, to go down to Titanic in such a small submersible, that requires a lot, you know, physically, even from a young person, and Cameron's in his 70s. So, you know, it's a lot to ask of the body.
Yeah.
I mean, if they ever get to a point where We have submarines as big as, I don't know, Stingray, where there's likely to be bathroom facilities on board. Then it's a lot easier to do. But who knows? That's one movie review I'm going to appreciate. Not appreciate. Approach, should I say? Approach with a very sober perspective. There'll still be that, like I say, that real features humor, but like I say, it's within, the good taste that I try to approach a lot of movies, unless it's one movie that is absolutely asking for it. Batman and Robin. But no, that'll be a little something I'm going to do. I can't guarantee this because it also depends on whatever Kaiju's doing. We will try, and bring the 15th anniversary of Transformers. But, I gave him the initial script. What he's going to do with that, I don't know. But, that's something he and I need to talk about at some point, because obviously he's very busy promoting his book and doing all various other publications. So it's a question of when he's available and when we can just sync up and just do the necessary production of it. So if I can't get the 15th anniversary of Transformers, I will try and pencil something else in. But, we'll just see.
And if you're interested in reading, sorry. I was just gonna say, if anyone out there is interested, you can read Kaiju Noir's books. Primal Warrior Dracozu 1 and 2 are now available on Amazon and Comixology for your reading pleasure. So go and help him out by giving them a little look.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Dan is asking, any opinions on the recent WWE releases? Well, let's put it this way. With releases like Eva Marie, she can go back into obscurity where she should have stayed, because I didn't see the warrant nor the necessity to bring her back, because let's just call it for what it is, folks. She is nothing more than eye candy. And that's not, a sexist or derogatory way of looking at it. The girl cannot wrestle to save her life. Well, we know that she trained extensively with Brian Kendrick. And Kendrick's is a heck of a wrestler. But you see it in the matches that Eva was in. She's awful.
Absolutely grateful.
And when you see other wrestlers being released, like Keith Lee, this is a guy that has so much potential. Because, alright, he's not the cookie cutter, big, oily, sweaty man type that Vince McMahon has a thing for. Seriously, alright, here's the thing, Vinny. If there's something you don't want to tell us, fine, but, there is so much more to a wrestler's overall
physique.
To some degree, yeah.
I was going to say overall assessment, because if I say overall package, that could get taken so many different ways, and we don't really want to go there on here. Wrestler's assessment, then looking like, a Randy Orton, a Rock, a Steve Austin, or a Triple H, because you look at guys like Brodus Clay and Bray Wyatt, alright, not the most refined or chiseled physiques, but you look at Bray Wyatt, great wrestler with great ring psychology, and he was super over, and he didn't have to be the Arnolds of this world. And
Actually, if you
Hi, Raiden.
Hey, Raiden.
If you remember, when he became the Fiend, Homeboy lost a lot of weight. So.
Also, and this is just my 2 cents on it, I think with only a certain amount of people, like if you look at, say, Viscera, that was a guy that probably could have stood to lose a few pounds because...
Well, actually he did, but Vince released him anyway.
Which is stupid.
And, you know, Keith Lee, it's like I say, alright, not the most chiseled, but the things he could do in the ring and his mic skills, I'd never heard anyone cut promos the way he did, just very soft-spoken, and this sort of eloquence from his mic delivery. I just thought, push this guy. Push him to the moon. No, he doesn't. It's like, no, he doesn't look like Randy Orton, or he doesn't look like Triple H.
When he was on big on NXT, remember, like Survivor Series 2019, like the final moments, he had that really good clash against Roman Reigns. It's like, and funny thing, Vince was impressed by that. So impressed the year prior for Rumble 2020, he came out as a surprise entrance, and even Brock Lesnar was very impressed by him.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, if you hear his words, like, oh, big boy, okay. He was genuinely very, very intrigued. So when you have your top star, let's be about that shit. I mean, that says something. But you know, Vince is like, how old is he? Like 70 now? 70, 80?
McMahon, he's now 76.
Oh shit.
Also, MJ, I think he was talking, what releases he was referring to were the more recent ones.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Okay. I don't even need a list. Hit Row, even though fuck Top Dollar. Who else?
Tegan Knox.
Yeah, I feel bad for that one. I mean, shit, the woman literally had her knee blown out in a match a couple years back. Who else? John Morrison.
Morrison got released again?
Yep.
Yes, he did. Let's see. Drake Maverick again.
Laugh even though I cry.
Who else? I haven't drawn a blood.
Jackson Riker.
Honestly, who cares? He
should have been released first.
Who else?
I like with Survivor Series, the tagline back in the days, who will survive? Clearly not your roster. Well, Dan saying, I heard John Morrison's wife was pissed when he and the other recent wrestlers were just released.
I saw on Twitter.
I didn't know he was married. Fair play.
Yeah, they've been married for a while now.
Well, there was that one time he was romantically linked with Melina, but that took a turn to the left.
That's it. Okay. Let me find the big list. Okay. Ashanti Adonis, Top Dollar, Big Maverick, Tom Morrison, Tegan Knox, Jackson Riker, Isaiah Scott, and Shane Thorne. Yeah, the last list was very big. And of course, there's Keith Lee, Aaron Cross, Nia Jax, Ember Moon, even Mia Yim, Terry Smith, which is like bonkers because the guy recently signed back, so I don't know what the hell is the problem with that. Lince Dorado, Ramlet Leak, Pete Lama, Regina Cortez, Trey Baxter, Adam Lemire, Jessica Mia, B-Fab, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, and Scar Bordeaux.
Back in the day, I would have tried to look for the hows and whys to make sense of, the hirings and firings that they've done. But in recent years, I stopped racking my brain around these things when I realized that McMahon lost his mind a very, very long time ago. You could probably do like a Star Wars opening credits montage.
Oh no.
No, since you mentioned Survivor Series, I find it very funny. I mean, remember Survivor Series 2001 at the end with WWF triumphing over the Alliance thanks to the mole Kurt Angle?
Mm-hmm.
At the end, you see Vince McMahon coming out. He holds his hands up. He's winning, and I'm like, it's funny that he does that now. He still does that to this day, not knowing that there's competition. He may not mention it, but it's there. But it's kind of telling now,
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you gotta remember with the whole invasion saga, and it's something that's still talked about to this day, because that thing was mismanaged right from the word go. I think it was concluded the best way that they could, merely because it was just going on for so long with horrible material fed to the wrestlers, because apparently the original premise was that the invasion would have lasted from summer of 2001 all the way to WrestleMania 18. But they saw how...
it's funny that you mentioned that. I think I have a couple of videos that... I mean, I think we all know how Adam would book the Alliance story, blah, 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 but I recently found a YouTuber by the name of Roche Entertainment, and he had his thing called "What If the Invasion Was Good?" Series 1, and the Invasion Fallout, the What If series. So I checked that out. I was like, "Oh wow! Imagine this shit was on TV. I would have watched this easily." I mean, let me give you the link right quick. We're not gonna show it on the broadcast and all that, but it's just something for to watch like on their own.
I mean, the biggest mistake that they made was announcing to the world that they had acquired WCW. If they had just kept it quiet and then have wrestlers invade the company out of the blue, the surprise factor would have been monumental and so spontaneous. But no, in true Vince McMahon fashion, he says, "I have acquired WCW, I have bought my own competition, and I'll sign the contract at WrestleMania." It's just like, why couldn't you just done this in quiet? Oh, I know better. Last year you unveiled the XFL. Look how that turned out. And
what before COVID hit, I heard it was pretty decent.
I did hear with what he was doing the second time around,
Yeah.
He was actually taking his time with it, which I thought, okay. But I think it just comes back, as we've said, in these last 4 years doing this podcast. This is not an ageist thing. This is a tell it like it is thing. And McMahon, I am addressing you specifically. Please just retire. You can't go anymore. You have no creativity left. Heck, you could probably put Steven in charge of decision making. He has zero experience with regards to booking, but the man has much more creativity and imagination than you could. Heck, put Win in charge as well. She actually knows what she wants from wrestling. Just don't ever put Oni in charge. Whiskey, tequila, chainsaw matches.
No. None of that.
She does way too much fun with that.
Honestly,
Not give that man that kind of power.
honestly, if Steve was in charge, he would probably make it a Kaiju Wrestling Federation. I'm just saying.
I'd be 100% okay with that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's another like wrestling called Kaiju Big Battle, and they have like people in suits fighting like monsters, weird shit. There's a doctor by the name of Dr. Feud.
Ah.
So, you know, I feel like that's something Steve would do.
And as the main event for this week's Monday Night Raw, we're going to have the very first meeting of Vince Russo versus Jim Cornette in the Stop the Bitching match!
No, none of that. Shame on you.
And the winner will be me for slapping you two Reddit like a bitchif.
I have mixed feelings about that.
Although somewhere he's like, okay, I don't like the Cartman jokes, but it's like, stop the bitching match between Russo and Cornette. Yes. Odie. And it's like, dude, why are you petting your head? Oh, I'm imagining it's the evil white kitty from the James Bond movies. Yes, pet the kitty.
Oh God, no.
Now,
I find it funny because I barely hear bitching from either of those two.
Give them time.
Nowadays, Eric Bischoff.
Well, you gotta remember.
He's been massively bitching about AEW lately, and Ric Flair, sadly.
It's sad, the situation with Ric Flair. Now, I'm not going to go into what was said on Dark Side of the Ring because some of the details that were revealed, this place is not the best place to discuss this, but what you got to remember...
I know what you mean, man. That episode was crazy as fuck.
What you got to remember, 2001, different time, different place, and Ric Flair had been drinking. Oh, sweet Lord above. When he gets alcohol into his system, he thinks he's 25 again. It's just like, I'm gonna have a big party that night. We're gonna... Ooh, there's some ladies here. Hey there, ladies. Would you like to experience the Ric Flair?
Let's never forget Unforgiven 2005.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Yep.
I like how he's counting all the ladies in the limo and the amount of pills he's taking with champagne. It's like, okay, Rick, I'm pretty sure it's doctor's advice not to take that with alcohol, but then again, when has Flair ever listened to sense in WWE? But Flair, when he's sober, on the straight and narrow, very entertaining, and there's a lot of things that you could pick his brain from. But when he's been inebriated, common sense goes out the window. Oni inadvertently kind of made a meme because Steve the Vince Wilton went to a backstage Hall of Fame party because I think he was at the 2014 Hall of Fame because Warrior got inducted. And
if you remember the Dark Side of the Ring episode of that, bruh, Jake the Snake Roberts had a slot full of core. He was going to knock that dude out. Yeah.
You know, Steve is just, I can't remember the exact context of what he was talking about on his Facebook page, but you know, he was just like trying to talk to somebody about something, and then Flair just hands him 2 shots of tequila. To which Oni and I just sort of started this meme of, hey, you know, like, hey Flair, I need to have some advice of what to this financial situation. Drink. Hey Flair, what do you think about this match? Drink. Hey Flair, I don't know what to do about this whiskey contest. Drink. And then of course, whenever I inadvertently did a Ric Flair impression and my brother happened to be in earshot, the microphone would hear him from downstairs doing his Ric Flair impression, and L-Man and Oni are clutching their sides.
Oh god.
Almost passing out. It's like, because I would, you know, sometimes go, woo. He goes, no. And then I hear him come up the stairs one time. He was probably just like going up to his room for something. And then I just inadvertently drop a Flairism, and then he goes into his like, well, you got a job, you should be partying hard with a job, you did go, ghost drinking, falls over, as Flair would do. And there's L-Man in particular, just like, stop it. But, hey, you need an impression, whether it's Ric Flair, a very exaggerated sound-alike of Triple H, or David Cameron, John Major, Tony Blair, or any other political figure. He may not do an accurate portrayal, but he'll do a very comedic, exaggerated sound of one, and he likes to do the Tony Blair and David Cameron impressions. Because you actually saw that one time he did the David Cameron impression on the reaction and review for Let Me, and he goes, it's like, my name's Dave Cameron, but you could call me Davo. No, I'll call you what I've always called you. See you next Tuesday. And as you guys saw, opportunity. I'd just like to I would give the opportunity to bend over and have my fist up your.
Oh no!
To which Ray was like, "You weren't joking when he likes to go there with the dark humor." But whenever when he goes on, you can see him going on was like, get your microphones out, get your cameras out, because this is going to be golden. Because, you know, that's just how he works. I don't know what VHS I had this recorded on one of my old cameras. He once did this comedic parody. He had this like mock-up bandana on, coming into Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Child, and walking in like Hogan, and referred to himself as Hoax Hogan, and he liked to talk about beef with hard-boiled Steve Texas, which I think you can guess what that was in reference to. He's... Best way to describe Random's impressions, imagine a 6-year-old with a hyperactive imagination that gets supercharged if he's also a sugar addict. That's the place he goes to. He's just a very, when I say not childish, but a very childlike over-imagination, because some of the things he'll come out with and the energy that he puts into these things, it's a thing of beauty to watch. Dan has just said, I had a weird image, Ric Flair and Pinky Oi competing with each other to see who can tell the best woo.
Woo?
No, it was Ric Flair's catchphrase where you just hear, woo! And then, of course, there was that moment from the draft lottery in 2005 when Kurt Angle had been drafted over to Raw, getting in Triple H and Ric Flair's grill, and Angle says, I came back to the big leagues, woo! And you hear Ric Flair's, no one says woo around here but me, and then you hear, woo, woo, woo! And then you hear JR on commentary going, it's a woo fest, and then Triple H steps in and says, hey, that's gimmick infringement and you know it! But I don't know. I actually did watch part of the draft lottery again from 2005, and it still gets me to this day, that reaction Cena got when he got drafted to Raw that year. This is back in the day when fans, were in absolute joy to see Cena. And here's the thing, I've said this story once or twice before. JR's reaction was real, because Cena's debut on Raw was kept quiet. He actually arrived to the arena in the car with blacked out windows. They snuck him in so that nobody would see that it was him coming through. So his reaction, along with Jericho's reaction, if he knew, he made a damn good job of making that look like an organic reaction, because nobody was expecting that debut that night.
That's great to hear. That's a good nugget of information. Yeah, I mean, I miss stuff like that in the draft.
Yeah,
like unexpected stuff.
And
also, I find it funny that Hit Row got drafted to SmackDown, yet all of them got released.
Wacky Macky. That's your only answer. That's your answer. But it was also the first time when they did the draft that titles were immune. Were not immune to being drafted, because before, champion, superstars could, go to and fro, but the titles remained where they were. Whereas with 2005, the WWE title went to Raw, and for the remainder of that month, the World Heavyweight title was still on Raw until the last draft pick for SmackDown. Batista got drafted over to SmackDown, and to be fair to Batista, I think he excelled on SmackDown more than he did on Raw.
I mean, to be fair, after he beat Triple H in Hell in a Cell Vengeance that year, I mean, what else was there to do to him on Raw?
Nah. And
not to mention, Cena had that budding rivalry with Jericho.
To be fair, that rivalry was done well. It was Alright, I think Jericho would have probably appreciated leaving the company under better circumstances, but by that point he was burnt out. He just needed to take time off, because he had been with the WWE since August of 99, and by that point he'd been there 6 years. This is like, come on, I need some time off. And I think until he went off to New Japan Pro and then to AEW, he could just come and go from WWE as he pleased, because he was at that point where, what was there left for him to achieve? I mean, he had won the Grand Slam Championship in 2 definitions, and I say 2 definitions because the original definition was you win one of the tertiary titles, which would be the European or Hardcore. You win a tag title, obviously, and then you win the Intercontinental title, and then you win one of the world titles. So technically, for all intents and purposes, Jericho became a Grand Slam champion when he won the WCW title at No Mercy 2001. But officially, from the WWE's point of view, it's like, no, you became a Grand Slam champion when you won the WWF title as part of the Undisputed Championship. Whereas now, the Grand Slam Champions Club requirement is you still win one of the tag team titles, then you have to win the tertiary title, which is now the United States title, because whereas before it would be seen as, the same level as the Intercontinental Championship, but because, you need something to sort of fill that void, then it'd be the Intercontinental title, and then now it's either the Universal or the WWE title. And the only 2 people that have ever won it in 2 definitions is Jeff Hardy and Chris Jericho. Because those 2, in the original definition, they'd won, both of them were Hardcore champion. Granted, Jericho was only Hardcore champion for barely a coffee break because Rhino scored him at the top of the stage and then took the title back because he was also tag team champions with Benoit at the time. European, Intercontinental, tag team, WWF. Whereas over on this side, the new phase, he's won the United States title. And Jeff, for all intents and purposes, became...
It's funny. It's funny because that was his reason to get out of there, because Vince didn't like his match with him and Owen.
I thought that match was excellent, though.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but I think Jericho said he wanted it for the Universal title, but no, what happened with that one. Also with Owen, his contract is up. His contract is up real soon next year. And I know you haven't watched WWE, I understand, but yeah, from the way it's looking, he's burnt out as well. You can definitely see it in the photos. You can definitely see it, so definitely.
Yeah. Plus, there's no word on when Paige is supposedly coming back, because from what we've been hearing, she has been going to the Performance Center just to see how she handles, because remember her saying in her retirement speech that when she saw Daniel Bryan come back to the ring, that gave her hope that you can come back from this. So I suppose it's her going to the doctor saying, you can do this again, you might not be able to do this, because I think with Paige it was a similar circumstance like that of Steve Austin's incident at SummerSlam 97. It was just a case of bad timing, wrong place, wrong time, and just human error, because I think what happened with Paige, I might have to refresh my memory. I know that she got dropped on her head or dropped on her neck.
Actually, it was on a house show. I think Sasha accidentally kneed her so badly the neck.
Oh.
The house show. So Jay did come back and she came back along with Sonya Deville and
Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose.
Absolution.
Yeah, that shit got canceled way quick after that.
Yeah. So, I think it's just going to be a simple case of.
Also, what is that? I mean, what is there else to do? I mean, WWE basically cut her off with her Twitch money.
I know, because she had to go by her real name, which she doesn't have a problem doing because, people recognize that she's Paige, but it's just like she can't call herself that, and I just think it's harsh on WWE's part because, like, hang on, they're getting more eyes on the product, but Vinny, it's just like, no, do things my way. Yeah, and you wonder why people leave.
There you go. Yeah. The whole got selfish because they're, and I'm using air quotes here, independent contractors was making more money on Twitch than they were at WWE. So, they shut that shit down.
Well, they know they can't make AJ Styles change his name on Twitch because he actually owns the rights to his ring name. It's the same thing when Punk came over, because he's been CM Punk in virtually every promotion he's gone to. It's like, nope. It's like, I own the rights to that name. You can't do anything to me. So, it was easy for him to go from WWE to AEW, granted after 7 years of healing physically and mentally. And, Tony Khan actually helped him bring out the CM Punk ice cream bars. Well, Punk had said to management, look, this is what people want. And when you hear McMahon in that segment saying, I don't give a damn what these people was, like, he wasn't acting there. And Punk saying, that's the problem. It's like, that's not acting. That was a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's... I forget who said this on here, but I think this is apt. It's funny how 10 years later, that promo and everything Punk said during the summer of Punk, it's all still relevant. It's so relevant now.
Yep.
Mind you, on the subject of Survivor Series, and we're only just now getting to the first topic. Yeah. Odds makers pick Raw to win Battle for, I think they mean brand supremacy, but they're saying brandy supremacy, obviously being a pun on Randy. The 35th annual Survivor Series takes place tonight at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, and we will once again center around the battle for brand supremacy between Raw and SmackDown. Ever since the brand split was reintroduced back in 2016, which is kind of irrelevant now considering AEW exists, this never-ending conflict has become a staple of the show, and despite SmackDown being positioned as the company's A show since moving to Fox, the Blue brand has failed to end the night with more victories than its Monday night counterpart. The Las Vegas odds maker expect that to continue this year, as BetOnline's latest odds have the Red brand winning 3 of the 4 versus champion matches in the Women's Survivor Series Elimination Tag Team match. No odds were posted for the 25-man Battle Royale, which was meant to be like a nod to The Rock, because tonight is the 25th anniversary since he debuted at the pay-per-view as Rocky Maivia, wearing the very colourful blue ring attire, which today you wouldn't see The Rock wearing. Rock would be like, no, just black trunks with my logo, elbow pads and boots, and we're good. Universal Champion versus WWE Champion Roman Reigns versus Big E. I want to say Big E, but my gut is saying Roman because screw job.
Yeah, I know. I just I have a feeling that that's going to be the case.
What do you think, Raiden? Raiden.
Are you there?
Oh goody. Technical issues once again.
Hope he
Alright.
hasn't fallen asleep again.
Tatiana Ali is here and she's winking at you.
No.
It's a pity there's not like a... You know like how back in the day on MSN Messenger or Yahoo Messenger you could do like this thing that would...
Nudge.
Yeah.
The nudge function. Where it would just shake the screen and go...
Yeah. Alright, we'll get to Raiden's thoughts as and when we're able to. Just give him a quick nudge. Might just be a simple case of he might be AFK as well, or...
Maybe.
Yeah, I apologize for this, folks. Technical difficulties. We'll get to his opinions as and when we're able to. Lids, who are you gonna pick, Roman or Biggie?
Again, like you said, my heart's with Big E, but again, I know better. Especially with the fact that they're more than happy to screw over somebody who's talented over the favor of the big dog, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling, and it's just, I don't know. It doesn't feel right, but we'll see what happens.
Alright. The Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. I think it's going to be a close match, but I got a suspicion they're going to put Becky over. And here's the weirdest thing. Neither of these two are a babyface. Both of them are heels. So who do you...
Well, again... Sorry, go ahead.
It's like, who do you cheer or who do you jeer more?
Again, for me personally, I just want to see Becky Lynch kick the shit out of Charlotte because I do not like Charlotte, and I've made it very clear that I despise the little narcissistic bitch, and that's not a character anymore. That's who she is now. Because WWE decided to spoil the little bratty bitch and decided, hey, she doesn't have to face consequences whatsoever, even though everybody in the back hates her guts, including Becky Lynch. And I don't think that's playing up a feud. That she straight up hates her. And for what? She is justified for that hatred, because good lord, if it were possible, I would deck Charlotte Flair in the face, and it's like, again, I would only end up bruising her fist with my face when she retaliates, but still, she deserves the freaking beating she's taking. I'm sorry, I do not like her. I made it very clear that I don't like her, but again, semantics.
Alright. The Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. Yeah, and also, they haven't really built this up in the same way as Roman versus Big E, but in saying that, I think there's more heat, there's more of an emphasis of Woods versus Roman than there has been Big E versus Roman, because Big E's almost acting like, when I say second, I don't mean like second best, but he's almost like he's acting like a background character.
Especially considering that Xavier gave Roman his first loss in quite some time. I think it was a freaking disqualification, but still, it's an L on his end.
Yeah.
How it was achieved isn't the problem. It's that he took a loss, and that's not going to sit well, Mr. Sassy Pants. No, no. That's why he broke his crown on Friday, because again, it means more to Xavier than anything. It's like, okay, so your catalyst for building this match with Big E is Xavier. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's kind of where we stand with that. And there's another one that hasn't really been that highlighted or promoted. Damien Priest, the United States champion, versus Shinsuke Nakamura as the Intercontinental champion.
I don't care. I kind of just want to see a match between these two. I don't care who wins.
If I have to pick...
All right, Smith.
Ah, there you are.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to fix TV upstairs for my mom.
Okay.
All right.
They're going through the card for tonight's Survivor Series. If you had to pick a winner between Roman and Big E, who would you go for?
Roman, I'm sorry, I love Big E. I'm happy he got the title, but whoever who's a fan favorite who gets the WWE title, they turn into a big ass geek. And when I mean that, they get their ass kicked multiple times. It happened it even happened with a stablemate Kofi. So as much as he want Big E to win this match, it's Roman. I mean, ever since they put the belt on him, he's just been damn near unstoppable. So Roman for the W.
All right. Becky versus Charlotte.
Mulligan, I don't care.
That's fair. RK Bro versus the Usos.
Probably gonna go with the Usos, and even I don't like what they become when even when they are successful. So yeah, I love RK Bro, trust me, but yeah, I think Usos got this one. They always got the tag team division on lock, lack thereof, but still.
Okay. Damien Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura. I like Damien Priest. Happy he got the belt. Happy he's doing successful, but yeah, I always go with the King of Strong style, even if they have neutered them over the years.
All right. Team SmackDown. McIntyre, Hardy, Woods, Corbin, and Sheamus versus Rollins, Balor, Owens, Lashley, and Austin Theory.
Yeah, Team Raw. I feel like Raw has a better team, especially with Lashley in tow. So I feel like I see him as the sole survivor, just taking on everyone. Because
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably have to go with Raw as well. What do you reckon, lads? Lids?
I think I kind of made it clear that it's about Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Sorry. I'm gonna give it to Team Raw. I'm sorry. It's like there's some good talent behind Team SmackDown, but they're definitely trying to build up more for Team Raw. I'm sorry. Just at least that's how it feels like to me, especially with the whole Austin Theory being the replacement for Rey Mysterio, whatever. I don't know what's going on with Adam Pearce. I have no idea what the hell they're doing with him. So it's like I'm like, okay, just Team Raw's gonna win. That's what I'm just gonna say.
And
I had to pick something.
And the women's traditional Survivor Series match. I'm gonna call this the Raw Women because I'm sick of hearing team this, team that. This is one of the very few things that I've agreed with A-Log over the years. There needs to be more personable names. So like the Raw Women versus the SmackDown Ladies, or for the men, the Raw Warriors versus the SmackDown Soldiers. Something that sets it apart instead of Team Raw, Team SmackDown. I mean,
sounds like some war games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sting Squadrons versus the Dangerous Alliance.
Exactly. So, Team Raw, Belair, Ripley, Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina versus Sasha Banks, should I say. Sasha Banks, that sounds like a fusion of Sasha and Becky. Don't think they'd like that.
No, we don't need that. No.
Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalia and Toni Storm. I'm gonna have to say Raw, only because there's going to be a tiny bit of inexperience on SmackDown's part. Now, sometimes that's a good thing, but given that there's much more experience on the Raw side with regards to Morgan, Carmella, Rhea Ripley in particular, yeah, I'm going to have to give it to Raw. Raiden?
I was this close to giving it to SmackDown, but I've been hearing highlights that Naomi was originally was part of that, but Sonya Deville cut that off as some reason she has a problem.
I'm really not a fan of that storyline.
I am really sick of that storyline. It's just like, put it to bed, please. Have them have a match and be done with it. Go back to regular competition instead of being the authority figure. We don't want you here as the authority figure, Sonya. We're done. We're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Team Raw on this one. I feel like there's gonna be shenanigans within SmackDown. I feel like Sonya will be on ringside, but I feel like Naomi will interfere and all that, and I think that's gonna cost SmackDown the W. So yeah, I gotta go with Team Raw on this one.
You know, you go and mention shenanigans. Ever since the inception of Survivor Series, there's always been shenanigans and controversy in what was supposed to be the grand rematch between Hogan and Andre the Giant. Hogan ended up getting counted out for his team because he got...
I think that was the first ever one, right?
Yes, that was 87. And then was the one where I think it was Stu Hart that threw in the towel between Brett and Bob Backlund, which was Bob Backlund's first WWE title reign in over a decade, and then loses it to Diesel in less than 10 seconds on a house show. But that was also because they were trying to set up Nash versus Shawn at WrestleMania that following March, and Brett and Shawn in a ring. They're like, considering how Shawn was at the time and how Hart felt about it, probably not the best idea in the world.
And then how about Survivor Series '99, where we were supposed to get a triple threat between Hunter, Triple H, Rock, Austin, but Austin's been going through some neck problems, and they had to write him off by running him over.
Yeah, and of course, one of the most controversial and infamous moments at Survivor Series.
The Montreal screw job.
It's 24 years later, and we're still talking about it. I mean, when you look back at that to this day, I mean, Shawn had to be one of the best actors to be able to say on camera with a straight face, I had nothing to do with it, when it's just like, bullshit, you were in on this whole thing.
He was even crying crocodile tears.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to be objective. I understand their perspective that they were worried that Brett would have taken the WWF title with him to Nitro, but considering Brett is someone that when they say they'll do something, they'll live up to their word. The plan he wanted to do was the night after Survivor Series 97, after, retaining the title in a no disqualification, he would come out the next night on Raw and he would just leave the title in the middle of the ring. If Brett says he was going to do that, I believe the man. Granted, he says some things that are somewhat controversial, but sometimes when truth is spoken, sometimes the truth can be controversial, and
honestly, over the years, people have been looking at Brett, and people have been agreeing with him now lately, and I'd like to see that, because over the years, people have just been vindictive towards him. That's why Brett was so bitter. And people say, well, why so bitter? Like, you not see the shit he went through. But I'm just happy to see of all the things, especially when he was heel after WrestleMania 13, he was right. And I think I said something on Twitter, said, give Brett all of your homemade cookies.
I mean, the thing with Brett, and this is, like I say, this is not me purposely trying to kick the man down. He wasn't the most charismatic performers that they had on the mic, but when he could do the things that he could in the ring so scientifically and down to microscopic expertise with his execution of his moves, like I say, his wrestling did the talking for him. But the problem is, in WWE these days, you have to be what some would say as a lyrical wordsmith on the microphone, as well as being a great performer. And I think that's always the thing that kind of eluded Brett. He just wasn't quite there with his mic skills. But again, when you had the overall well-rounded performance that he had as a performer, I don't think he really needed it.
He didn't really need it.
I mean, and to this day, and if you check this, if you play this game on Sporkle, if you go to superstars with the most matches, he still sits at the top.
Yep.
Even I would say 24 years later, but he did have a couple of matches left in 2010. One, facing McMahon in a street fight at Mania 26, which, let's call it for what it is. The only thing that Brett did in that match was locking in the sharpshooter on McMahon, but let's be fair, that was 13 years later worth the wait. Winning the US title from The Miz, abdicating it, because I think that was like WWE's way of saying, this is your reward for coming back, and then competing in the Team Raw versus Team Nexus match at SummerSlam that year, which he got, I think it was either he got counted out or he got disqualified, if I remember correctly. But, I don't know what it is with McMahon, the way that they just sort of seem to put Brett down, even though, he and the company are on better terms and what have you, but, McMahon is McMahon. So yeah, and I think the last match they've got is...
you didn't get my thoughts as to...
I was just about to correct myself. That's my bad, Lids.
It's okay.
What's your pick for the women's match?
I'm going with everybody's consensus in saying Team Raw, but under one caveat. Have Liv Morgan be the sole survivor. Make that, tell a story here. Because they're building up her challenging the title for challenging Becky Lynch for the title. It's like, tell a story there. Make her fight through the odds and be the sole survivor. That's the only caveat I want for that.
Yeah.
That is the antithesis to Survivor Series, I mean, let's not forget 2003, where it was Team Bischoff versus Team Austin, and Shawn was on his own, and he had three guys left.
Mm-hmm.
He single-handedly eliminated Christian, eliminated Jericho, and just when you thought he was about to eliminate Orton, Peace comes in, and Orton takes it. I mean, what I really enjoy with Survivor Series is they build a future talent. They did it with Orton, they did it with Ziggler. Hell, back then they did it with The Rock when he debuted it. So this is perfect. It's perfect.
If you also recall, they did the same thing with Cena at 2003 when it was Team Angle versus Team Lesnar.
Right.
Because Cena was the last... Because I think Brock got eliminated a good while during the middle of that match.
Angle too.
Yeah, because I think it was either... I think it was down to either Cena being the sole survivor or it was him and Benoit.
It was him and Benoit, Soul Survivors, and they last eliminated Big Show.
Yeah, because they were trying to set up Cena versus Big Show for the the next WrestleMania, where it would be for the United States title. But with Cena, they did the build just right. They did it slowly, and they were doing well with Reigns until he got that injury, which kept him out for a while.
Yeah, they definitely did it with Reigns, especially when he was part of the Shield. He single-handedly eliminated four people. Eliminated Goldust, eliminated Rose, eliminated one of the Usos. And then the tail end, when you thought Rey Mysterio was going to hit the non-Bam, spear.
Mind you, they did a similar thing with Sheamus when they made him go face in 2011. Because he'd been a heel for a fair while in that year because he got him drafted from...
Actually, he turned face like midpoint of summer when he fought Mark Henry.
I was getting to that. Yeah, they set him up for the world title, but the best place to do that was at the 2012 Royal Rumble, and that had to be one of the more entertaining Royal Rumble matches because there were so many surprise entries, including the whole announce team going into the Rumble. And I remember every now and again I go back to watch that Rumble reactions, hearing Oni's reaction in the background when it was on my old PC, hearing like and Weavile said something so weird. I'm gonna have to type this out because even he doesn't remember this. Would help if I could spell. Yeah, he said that aloud.
Oh my god.
And
Oh my god.
and all of us, you see the cameras just on pixel, like all of us just are like, what? And all you hear is like, wait, what? It's like, and Ryder's like, I'm not sure where you're going with that, Weavile. I think the funniest one was because we had been doing a Royal Rumble poll. Oni, for whatever reason, loves to pick the number 26. And guess who was number 26 that year?
Oh no.
I don't know who.
David O. Tonga.
No!
And you hear me, see me on camera, like, over. And he's like, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but no.
Oh god. At least it wasn't as bad as the time that he got a Bella twin when he picked during the women's rumble. I'm like, oh. I think we were all dying at that point.
I think the weirdest part when it was down to like Jericho and Sheamus, you actually see Jericho go for a pin, and we're like, what? Ryder's like, don't be like Randy Savage in '93. He goes, Jericho, this is not TNA. You do not go to pin somebody in that Rumble. And keep in mind, this is back when Oni was still operating under his former persona, and he was a lot louder. But wow, definitely one of the better Rumbles. 2013, still entertaining, but it was a bit because it felt rushed. But then again, they were trying to push that through just so they could get to CM Punk defending the title against The Rock. And Rock performed not as well as he did at Survivor Series 2011, because Survivor Series 2011 he was on form because he was doing arm drags, counters to counters. It's like, you know, even at that point, even though it had been 7 years since his last match, it was like he had never gone. And then WrestleMania 28 comes along, and it's just like, oh, dude, you are gassed as heck. But like I say, that match with Punk was carrying him.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The younger wrestling fan in me was glad to see one of my childhood favorites win the belt again, but I've seen better matches from him. And that one was not it. If I had to pick the best match I've ever seen of The Rock, it would probably be against Hogan. And by extension, WrestleMania 18, because No Way Out 03, it was alright. Not the best, but it is what it is. And there's the last match on the card, the 25-man Battle Royal. I'm going to call him Mulligan. Because...
Same. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think everyone calls him Mulligan. Who cares?
It's just padding at this point.
The one that annoys me is like, how the hell do you have AJ Styles in this? Like, huh? I mean, I get it. He's winding down his career, but in a battle royal?
Yeah.
And possibly going to leave the pre-show? Oh my god.
I know. On top of the Raw vs. SmackDown storyline, the show will also celebrate the 25th anniversary of The Rock's debut. There's no word yet if Johnson will make any sort of appearance at the show. He won't. He's stated explicitly he's not going to be there. Though he did recently talk with Comic Book about coming back for the heavily rumoured clash with Reigns. I don't know if I have another title run, considering I'm the People's Champ, but I don't know if it's another title run. You could do a thing, Rock, where you win the belt one night and then drop it the next night. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. I think possibly, you know, there might be another match down the road. It would have to make sense. He then talked about the success of his cousin and his presumed next opponent. It seems like Roman, you know, I'm very close with Roman, obviously. We talk about this all the time. And I continue to encourage him to keep doing your things, keep sharpening those skills. I think he's doing a great job of his promo. His execution is in ring work. It all continues to improve and grow, and that's always the best part. I think about the world of professional wrestling and that when someone gets anointed and given the ball to run, they either score a touchdown with it or they don't. But then some not only score a touchdown with it, but they begin to change the way the game is played. And in Roman's case, he's slowly doing that. And you could start to read the tea leaves. Never heard that expression before. And again, I'm very, very proud of him. I like everything he's doing. I like everything that the Usos are doing. I like what they're doing together, and we'll see that down the road. I would say Roman now is a much better, well-rounded performer compared to how he was when he was first given the run. When I say first given the run with the belt, I'm referring to when he had it at WrestleMania 32, because his first reign as champion, it was gone within seconds because Sheamus goes and cashes it in. And then having to defend it in the Rumble, which is an interesting concept, but it's like I've said so many times before. Look at rivalries that happen going into Survivor Series. I'll give you a few examples. You look at 2003, the way that Lesnar and Goldberg brush by each other. You look and think, that's going to be a thing for WrestleMania 20. You look at the friction that was going on between Triple H and Batista at around Survivor Series 2004. That then set up them for WrestleMania 21. And in the case of Survivor Series 2015, there was that friction between Reigns and Triple H. Lo and behold, here's the thing. I should have put my prediction for the 2016 Royal Rumble and said I'm going to pick number 30. And when number 30 and then you hear time to play the game, it's like, I freaking knew it! It's like, I knew this would happen! And to be fair to Triple H, he was at a point in his career where he didn't have to go and win the belt again. But put yourself in his position a second. If you're told in the autumn of your career you're going to be given another title reign, and let's be fair, Triple H had not had a world title reign in 7 years by that point, because his last title reign was when he lost to Orton at Backlash 2009. He did not have a world title reign since then. To be told, oh, you're going to be the undisputed champion at the end of the Rumble, it's like, gimme. But you've also looked at it with a slightly more analytical eye. They had injuries up the wazoo in early 2016. There's so many superstars sidelined, so it's just like, it's like you're going to run with the belt. I'd be like, okay. I mean, I'd be like, walking up to Raiden. We got multiple superstars injured. You're going to go into WrestleMania as the champion. Yes, please. One thing. Can I have the Eddie Guerrero style undisputed title? Yeah, sure, why not? And you're like, yes.
Gimme.
And then there's Raiden like walking around with the belt, and he starts dancing like Teddy Long when he knows there's a tag match coming.
Tag match, player!
I do not know what it was with Teddy Long and tag matches, but jeez.
Probably like them.
It was like the one match that...
yourself against The Undertaker! I'm like, why?
It was like that one segment on SmackDown we covered in Season 6 of RDR, where we hadn't heard this expression for a long time, and you just hear, hold up there just a second, players, and it's like, restarts a match as a tag match, and then restarts it as a triple threat tag team match. It's like... And Oni says, and I quote, actually, I'm not so sure I can say this aloud.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't think I could say that aloud.
Ew.
Oh no! Oh no!
You can't see this, but I'm shaking my head right now.
Imagine that later on Kaiju and Win see these messages, they'll be like, what?
What's going on here?
And then L-Man chimes in with this.
No. Oh no, L-Man, no. Ah!
That Roshi laugh, man, come on.
No!
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't breathe.
Don't fall on the floor again.
No, you did enough of that when we did all the James Bond puns during Oni's Twitch of Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh god.
With regards to whether The Rock will have another title match, it's like I say, he could just do a thing where he wins the belt off Roman, and then the next night on Raw, he just leaves it in the middle of the ring and says, I'm done. Because The Rock is 50 next year, and realistically, what has he got left to prove? I mean, the only thing that's eluding him is the Grand Slam Championship. All he'd have to do is go over to Damien Priest and say, I'm going to challenge you. And then all he'd have to do is, like I say, similar thing if he was to become a world champion again. Win it at, say, WrestleMania and then drop it the next night on Raw. But, you know, it's in a similar way. Undertaker never won the Grand Slam Championship, but doesn't need to. I mean, when you look at what he's accomplished in the ring with matches he's created, legendary feuds, and you know that that Boneyard match. I think there have been cinematic matches before in WWE, but not done to the high production value that had been done with AJ Styles, and to hear that one usage of, but you know, of "We're Dead" by Metallica, and the fact that he came back as the biker one last time, that was glorious. And, you know, numerous people have made custom Titantron videos of him back as the biker, and it's just, the young wrestling fan in me was just doing jumping jacks, seeing that. It's like, yes, this is exactly what I needed. And you get Vinnie Mac saying, oh, I don't like the biker gimmick. The biker gimmick thing is stupid. Pardon me. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you...
Biker gimmick.
It's like say, I didn't know you spoke for us, Vinny. Oh, well, that's right, you don't. So I don't know. I mean, Raiden, do you think Rock has one more title reign in him, or do you think he should just leave it?
Honestly, right now, the way his career is going, he doesn't really need it.
Yeah. You in a similar way of thinking there, Lids?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Move away from wrestling for a little bit, because I think we've devoted enough of that time. Let's see. Something... That's interesting. This one concerns Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh.
That movie is super dope, but I need to check that out soon.
Afterlife hid a major retcon for Ghostbusters 2. Afterlife is now playing in theaters, and it features appearances from many of the movie's original stars. Carrie Coon plays the daughter of Egon Spengler in the movie, the iconic character played by the late, great Harold Ramis in the original Ghostbusters. Sorry, that's the monster drink talking there. And Ghostbusters 2. In the movie, it's revealed that Coon's character was alive in the late 80s, which has folks wondering where her character was during Ghostbusters 2, which was made in 1989. Recently, Uproxx had a chat with director Jason Reitman, who confirmed the retcon. Oh yeah. When asked if Egon had a kid in Ghostbusters 2, correct. He added when Uproxx clarified, we just don't know at the time when we're watching Ghostbusters 2. The new movie has actually led to a lot of speculation about the original sequel. During the chat, Reitman was also asked about the Ghostbusters logo and the choice to revert it to the original instead of keeping the updated version from '89. I wish I could talk to you about that, Reitman replied when asked if Egon changed the logo of the ghost holding up a 2 back to the original at some point. I'm just saying that's a plot that is not in the film and we have ideas moving forward. He added, Ghostbusters 2 definitely canon. There are references to Ghostbusters 2 in Afterlife. We met Ray working at Ray's occult. The toaster from Ghostbusters 2 is in the kitchen at the farmhouse. There's actually a lot of Ghostbusters 2 details, but nobody knows Ghostbusters 2 outside of Vigo the Carpathian and the Ghostbusters 2 logo. So there's this assumption that it is not canon, but it definitely is canon. Afterlife is currently holding up on Rotten Tomatoes with a 62% critic score after 204 reviews with a 96% audience score. I think I know which one I would trust more. After 2,500 reviews, comicbook.com Spencer gave the movie a 2 out of 5, saying it has abysmal forced references, and while it's not poorly made on the whole, it's just exhausting. Afterlife focuses on a family played by Carrie Coon, McKenna Grace, and Finn Wolfhard. In the movie, the trio is forced to a family home in a small town where a connection to the original Ghostbusters team and the secret legacy hidden there by the children's grandfather, Howard Ramis, Egon Spengler. The surviving original Ghostbusters, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson will return for the movie, with Annie Potts and Sigourney Weaver also set to reprise their roles from the original films. Paul Rudd is also starring in the new film. Here's the thing. Most of the time, critics are... Here's the thing. Some critics actually do give honest opinions where somebody probably in the editing office say, make this movie look like crap, we want to push the woke or socialist agenda, whereas the audience turn around and say, look, you can listen to their thoughts and opinions, or you can listen to those who actually go to watch the movie, and you'll hear our honest opinions, because this is made for people that love these movies. And when you look at things like No Time to Die, which the audience were either bored or just straight up hated the movie, whereas the critics, this is the greatest Bond movie ever. It's like, that's nice. Skyfall and GoldenEye say hi. And for them to come on and say, this movie's terrible, it's forced, it's horrible, it's so many references, and the people love it, and the audience love it. Whereas they'll go, like the critics go, the 26 movie is revolutionary, it's great for Ghostbusters, and the audience says, this sucks, don't watch it. And here's the thing. Most theaters, when they're playing the Abomination from 2016, you'll see that most theaters were empty, because it's like, no, we're not watching this crap. It's like, we don't need a Ghostbusters reboot. And from what I'm hearing from those that have attended it, along with Sir Stephen, Afterlife not only redeems the Ghostbusters, not only redeems the franchise's reputation, but it actually puts it in... They pulled an RDJ. They go to having an Iron Man situation to where it not only redeems them, it has people adoring it. It's almost like, it's not erasing 2016, but it's almost like we're sweeping this under the rug. Or it's put into this lockup, in this artifact vaults of forbidden. It's like, no, you can't, we will not allow this to be viewed by the public again. So yeah, I'm glad that Ghostbusters 2 is canon, because when you see things like Ecto-1 with the original logo, and all the equipment is reverted back to the original Ecto-1 and not the extra equipment that they had on the second movie with extra decals and what have you. I do feel like Ecto-1 looked a little more simplified that way. And as we've said before, simplicity often sells it better, so... Sorry, that monster's really talking at the moment. So yeah, glad to see they haven't completely erased it like they do with some bad movie decisions. Like they're saying that the Star Wars New Republic storyline is no longer canon with the Star Wars storyline, which angered a lot of fans.
Oh, yes.
With that. It's like in a similar way, I forget where I read this, but they're saying like the only thing that is canon with the Sonic storyline is with the game, so nothing from Archie's is canon. It's just like, wow, you're gonna infuriate so many hardcore, passionate fans who loved the Archie series. And I think what was so great about that is, yeah, it was a licensed property of the Sonic franchise, but it grew into its own thing. So in a similar way with the real Ghostbusters cartoon, yeah, it was, for all intents and purposes, a spin-off from the first movie, but it grew into its own thing where they encountered different stories, different people, and different missions, and there's something to be said for that. Sean says, we can always give Gozer the GB 2016. No, I don't think even Gozer wants that. You imagine, like, we offer you Ghostbusters 2016. She looks and goes, no, I don't want that. I was like, no.
You serious?
Always like that.
Yeah, fine.
I always like that line from Fate was like, nimble little minx, isn't she? But then again, considering like she somersaulted like 20 feet in the air and then lands on the balcony, it's just like, So yeah. Anyone want to say anything with regards to the fact that GB2 is canon?
As long as,
It's
sorry, go
great
ahead.
to see that they're acknowledging the only 2 Ghostbusters movies.
And
Yes.
nothing else.
Ah,
Yeah.
What about Figbuster? Like, and nothing else.
Talk about it.
It's almost like random when he did his the HDG of Star Wars movies.
House of the Dead. I
Yeah,
thought it was House of the Dead.
no, he did like a handy dandy guide of Star Wars movies. Because what about the prequels? There were no prequels. You were all imagining it, and that was the one where when he did that, he does a very disturbingly accurate portrayal of Chancellor Palpatine.
Oh,
Yeah, where he
Palpatine.
where he implies that Palpatine had a thing for Luke. It's like, because I remember Lids reacts. It's like, I didn't know the Emperor swung that way. Yeah, but here's the thing: random has no filter.
We all know that.
oh yeah, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't spend 20 years growing this for no reason. It's just like... I remember hearing that sometimes, and I'm upstairs trying so bad not to laugh. I'm just like, don't laugh, it'll put him off. Oh, gosh. Here's an interesting story. This is...
Okay, if I say one thing about Ghostbusters Afterlife,
Go ahead.
with the whole movie as itself, it's difficult enough to make a movie 20 years after the first 2. It's even more difficult when one of the creative minds behind the franchise, as well as one of the main characters, passes away. But for what it did, I think it did it justice. And Harold Ramis's influence and, well, Egon's presence follows throughout the movie. And at the end, it did have me crying tears. And I think because I saw it with, we did a staff screening, and I saw it with one of the managers, and he also said that he ended up crying at that particular scene.
Well, I have read the spoilers, which I will not reveal. Because I know there are people that want to see this, and it makes me want to see this movie even more so. Because both Harold and his character are very much beloved by those that worked with Harold, and you know, for some people that see Egon as an inspirational figure, because there is something about Harold's dry wit, sense of humor, or the way that he would say something that was clearly funny, but he says it with such a deadpan delivery as only Egon could do. And I think, going by what people have said seeing this movie, I think if Harold were still here, he would probably give the cast and the crew a much deserved pat on the back, saying, "You did good." But for all we know, Harold is probably watching the movie from his own personal skybox up in the clouds, saying, "Well done. Well done. You did my character justice."
And there is a mid-credit and a post-credit sequence. Just thought I'd add that.
I did read about that, because I think whenever somebody does a mid-credit or post-credit, they're laying the foundation for the future. And I think if we do get another sequel for Ghostbusters, because Sony even don't want to not capitalize on this, because when a franchise starts to become white hot again, you have to, strike it whilst the iron's hot, because Ghostbusters has laid dormant as a movie franchise for 3 decades. I mean, alright, we had the release onto Blu-ray for the 25th anniversary, and along with the video game, which, by the way, I still find enjoyment with that game. When they did the quote remastering for the 10th anniversary, which coincided with the 35th anniversary of the original movie, I saw some enhancements, but nothing to what I would call, monumental, because if anything, all they did with the audio was probably just tweak it a little bit, just so it's a little bit clearer and a little crisper. And even they said, right at the beginning of the game, in loving tribute to Harold Ramis. But I feel like, this time around, they're doing Harold the justice that should have been done with the 2016 movie, but all they did was just like a graphic in the credit that just says, "For Harold," and it's like, really? Now, when it got to the credits for Star Trek Beyond, it says "in loving memory for Leonard Nimoy," because we knew that, unfortunately, Leonard had been gone a small while. But when they also said "and for Anton," now, with regards to Anton, he unfortunately passed away after the movie had finished, and it was such a horrible accident that happened, which, such a young actor as well.
I know.
I know Tiana in particular absolutely adored him as Chekhov in the 2009 Star Trek movie, because she watched that when she was over all those years ago, and she's like, "Oh, I could hug him," as Tiana would do whenever she goes into cute mode, which is a thing of beauty to see.
Yeah.
because Chekhov just had this, well, I should say Anton just had this, youthful baby-faced look to him. And he's such a good actor. I mean, it's like I've said with Terminator Salvation. He was one of the very few saving graces of that movie. But that's just how good he was as an actor. So like I say, I'll be intrigued to see what they do for Harold. Just for context, Stephen, with regards to the visual effect that they do, would you say, in terms of how Egon looks with the visual effect, would you say it was photoreal, or was it that kind of, I don't want to say uncanny valley, but does it look like too animated?
Looked enough to be photoreal in some shots, but I think, without spoiling it too much, they do find ways of working around the fact that that the actor that they got was not essentially Harold Ramis. They do use a few tricks there to keep it all
hidden,
neat.
You mean like how they did with Paul Walker in some of the scenes in Fast 7, when you see Brian running up the stairs, his face is actually kept in the shadows.
Yes.
Yeah, and the stunt double's played by his brother.
Yep.
To quote what you said before, I think in one of the Jurassic Park reviews, it rewards the audience in a way. That's all I can say.
Okay. Say this to me as a DM, because I don't want to spoil it. Was it of young Egon, or how Harold Ramis would have looked in his last few years?
Let me see.
Just so I get an idea of, what I'd be walking into. Like I say, I'm not going to say it aloud, folks, because, I don't want to spoil it for people. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, now, let's see. Did I actually put that? Okay, here we go. Here's one movie I thought we'd never see the light of day. We are getting, apparently, a Gladiator 2.
What?
Why?
Why?
Let's find out. Ridley Scott has praised the Gladiator 2 script and the way it continues the legacy of Maximus. More than 2 decades since its critically acclaimed and award-winning release, a sequel to Ridley Scott's Gladiator is now in development, despite the ending of the first movie seemingly wrapping everything up. Scott has revealed that the script for Gladiator 2 has now been written, and that, thankfully, they have found a logical way to continue the legacy of Maximus. Oh, it's been written. It's already been written. We have found a good footprint, a good logical place to go. You can't just do another Gladiator-type movie. You've got to follow. There's enough components from the first one to pick up the ball and continue it. There have been rumblings of a Gladiator sequel in the past, with the logical way back into the story expected to be continuing adventures of Lucius Verus, the young son of Lucilla, played in the first movie by Spencer Treat Clark. You actually named your kid's middle name Treat? Okay!
Could be worse. You could have your middle name as Christmas.
Or you could have whatever name Ronda Rousey gave her daughter. Do not look that up, for the love of God.
Oh God,
dear
don't
Lord.
remind me.
Or if you're like Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter being named Apple.
Oh, God.
Or Phoenix Chi, Scary Spice's daughter, or the daughter of Ginger Spice, Blue Bell Madonna.
One of Jason Biggs' kids, Pilot Inspector. I'm not joking. And it's not even spelled right.
Or, as we've highlighted before, the daughter of Sarah Ferguson, Princess Eugenie. That's just cruel. That's just cruel. Way back in 2001, the apparent storyline for a proposed follow-up would have followed Lucius 15 years after the movie and picked up with an older-age Lucius searching for the truth about his biological father. Lucius discovering that in fact he is the son of Maximus. Recent rumours have suggested this could be the idea behind Gladiator 2, with Gladiator Russell Crowe reportedly favouring Thor Love and Thunder Chris Hemsworth to lead the project as the son of Maximus.
Didn't Maximus' son die?
Exactly. Russell thinks he could be the only man to credibly play his son in the Gladiator sequel, explained a source with the same insider, further claiming that both Crowe and Hemsworth, who will unite for the Thor sequel, are carefully considering the concept for Gladiator 2 and have spent hours musing over the script ideas. However, not long after the first movie's release, Nick Cave was commissioned to write a new draft of a script sequel, with the project leaning much more heavily into the fantasy genre. Describing the plot... I'm going to go with this. Describing the plot as deity versus humanity story, premise that would have seen Maximus in purgatory before being resurrected as an immortal warrior fighting amongst the Crusades, World War II and the Vietnam War, with the ending revealing that in a modern day time period, the character now works at the Pentagon. Admittedly, it's much more likely that the older Lucius is more logical angle, but it's not hard to hope that the fantastical Gladiator 2 is the one being crafted right now, if only because it sounds like the craziest Gladiator sequel possible. Ridley Scott recently declared his determination at bringing Gladiator 2 to the big screen, believing that it would be critically stupid not to make the long-awaited sequel. How could I not do that? It would be critically stupid of me to do that, wouldn't it? He said. Gladiator 2 will reportedly bring Scott's next project following the release of Kitbag, starring Joaquin Phoenix, which will delve into Napoleon Bonaparte's rise to power as a 19th century leader. Let's see. How to feel... Well, to answer Sean Retro's comment, I don't necessarily think the game will be canon with regards to the movie from Ghostbusters for Afterlife, so it's probably best to ask Jason Reitman on that one. I'd like to believe that Ghostbusters the video game is canon within the movie series, but it's a question of what what the writers for Afterlife were doing going into that, so I don't have an answer for that one. With regards to a Gladiator 2, because Gladiator was 2000, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a fair few years, and I do remember reading supposed drafts over the years where they toyed with the idea of what if Maximus ended up being reborn as this timeless, immortal soldier rising up in the ranks as a general in World War II to being in a powerful position in the Pentagon. It's not something that I could imagine Ridley Scott doing, because although he likes to do sci-fi, he also likes to do things that are a little bit more well-grounded and a little bit more mythic. Because I think he did Gods of Egypt as well, didn't he, with Christian Bale?
Oh, God. God, are you talking about that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, lovely shit.
Mind you, Scott has been known to do a few stinkers. Anyone remember Prometheus?
Yes, unfortunately.
I watched that on the.
Move to the side, ladies. It's a wheel. It's a wheel.
I remember watching that on the flight, on the interconnecting flight back from Detroit to Heathrow, and I'm like, I want my 2 hours back. I think I had the option of either watching The Avengers again or watching Prometheus, and I'm like, after I finished that, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch The Avengers. It's like, fuck this. Yeah, Prometheus. Here's the thing. I don't fault the cast performances because they're just working with the material that they're given. And Charlize Theron, she's made a career out of playing a hard-nosed female character. But it was just the writing and the idea they were trying to sort of prequel Alien. It's just like, no. It's like, why have you got... I know why they have to go touch that, because Hollywood likes to meddle with some things. The only times where I feel like prequels on paper would be necessary, say what we will about the prequels for Star Wars, but at least it's set up how and why the Empire came to be. So at least you get context. Finally, I think Episode 3 was better executed than 1 and 2, although out of 1 and 2, I probably lean to number 1 being a little bit more watchable, whereas Episode 2, I'm sorry, that the chemistry between Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman with the romantic angle between Anakin and Padme, it was difficult to watch at times. It's just like, someone should have just sort of sat Lucas down and say, look, we're bringing an additional writer just so that you can make the romantic angles work, because he doesn't write romance particularly well. Just saying. And yeah, like I say, there's a bit of a plot hole with regards to the idea of Maximus having a kid, because did he not say in the movie, I am Maximus Arboribitus, widowed...
Husband to a... father to a murdered son and husband to a murdered wife.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Unless there was something that happened off camera where he had a moment of sympathy love, for want of a better description, with a character that wasn't present on screen, and years later supposedly Chris Hemsworth character will be that son. I don't know, because it's like I said, all the loose ends were tied up with Gladiator, because at the end of it he goes to see his wife and kid up in heaven. So I don't know. I mean, I respect and admire some of the things that Ridley Scott has put out over the years, but this, I don't know. It's like, it'd be like going back to a movie that was, well, nicely wrapped up. I mean, imagine doing a sequel to E.T. all these years later, where everything was wrapped up the way it was supposed to be. Now, I enjoyed the holiday TV commercial they did, where they actually brought the Elliot actor back, just as a way of, passing E.T. down to the next generation. But you can do that within the confines of a commercial, because it's not tampering with anything that's been done. But E.T. as a movie itself, that's a movie that should just be left well alone.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I do like that little bit where it's Halloween and E.T. actually goes after the person that's dressed as Yoda, which I thought, okay.
Oh no!
It's just adorable. I like the fact in episode 1, Lucas actually puts a group of ETs at the Senate Trade Commission hearings. I thought, okay, I saw what you did there, Lucas. That's good. That's good. But yeah, I'd have to see concept art and, you know, at the very least, a full-length trailer, not a teaser, just a full-length trailer, just to be like, do I want to see this or not? You know, because I don't know. I'd be more interested to see like not necessarily a small TV movie, but like a small web movie where you see a prelude to how Maximus rose to the rank that he did within the Roman Empire. And similar way, before Fast and Furious 2, they showed how Brian went from LA to Miami. It doesn't have to be huge, it just has to be simple, but brief and straight to the point of how he got there, how he got there and why he got there. You know, it doesn't need to be amazing.
Did they also show how he got that badass Nissan Skyline?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm not gonna.
If I had $1 million, I would get someone to make that design. that and Han's Mazda RX-7.
Oh yes, yes. So with Gladiator 2, I'm not buying or selling on this. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna wait for a trailer. Steven, your thoughts?
Don't really see the point, to be honest, but I know they say they're trying to make sure that it's not that they're saying it's critically stupid not to do a sequel, but I'm just thinking whether it's logically stupid to just to go in a particular direction with the sequel, because after hearing what they had for that idea where was it Maximus ends up finding himself in different time periods?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah, that was
dumb.
one of the proposed ideas in some of the original drafts.
Oh Lord.
Just seems rather ridiculous. And after coming out of the first movie with such a serious tone, it just gets it just throws you off balance, you know?
I mean, if it was like a sci-fi, I don't want to say parody, but if it was like a sci-fi inspired by what could have been, it's be like, okay, you know, if you're gonna, you know, go that route, then fine. But as you say, because it's had a serious tone, and Ridley Scott's not really known for doing things that kind of throw the rulebook out the window. Yeah. I think there would be a danger of just going so far out there that with a tonal shift that it would just audiences wouldn't like it. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Raiden?
I don't know. I watched a little bit of the original Gladiator. The way this told the story was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand what the sequel for it is. I just don't know. I'm just I can wait for a trailer, I guess, even though I don't really want to see it.
No.
It is what it is, I guess.
Litz?
I'm not even sure why Gladiator 2 needs to happen. The first one wrapped things up fine. It told a clear story. It doesn't need a sequel. Unless they were either going to with the prequel route where it's Maximus during the early days in the Roman army, and hell, if Crow wants Hemsworth in his movie, put Hemsworth in the movie as a young Maximus.
Yeah.
Problem solved. But just, again, there needs to be a sequel for some odd reason. And the one where
That's money.
the one suggested idea where Maximus is traveling through time. I'm sorry, who do you think you are, Batman? No. That would like take things to a sci-fi level. I'm like, this is a movie that started off as a period piece and you want to turn it into a science fiction movie? That doesn't make any sense to me. So it's like, there doesn't need to be a Gladiator. If there is, I will judge it once I see a trailer. But again, I don't see the point in it. First one was fine.
Although, you go mentioning the idea of, like I say, Batman in World War II. I wouldn't mind seeing that as a movie in a very noirish style. I mean, if you can get... who was the guy who directed Good Night and Good Luck with George Clooney, Robert Downey Jr., and Alex Bornstein? Because if you could do like a black and white stylized artistic noir Batman movie set in the 40s, I would pay good money for that.
Make it like an Elseworld story.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, Gotham by Gaslight was really good. So I was just like,
that
time period.
That would also be an interesting take on Batman. I mean, because there are points in Gotham versus Gaslight, Gotham by Gaslight, even that you kind of question if that movie should even be for kids to watch. Because I think Gaslight is, I think it's a 15 over here, so I think it's definitely. I mean, Raiden, is it R-rated over in the States?
I think. I don't know.
I mean, that'd be interesting if you could do a Batman movie like that, because that'll be the first R-rated Batman since Batman Returns. But considering the things that were going on in Batman Returns, it needed to be R-rated. Because here's the thing, the original Batman was a 15 as well. But you hand control over to Tim Burton, well, you're going to get your money's worth. Because Burton likes to be Burton. Or, as Liz's avatar said when I was covering the build-up to Batman, Batman Begins, like, you went full Tim Burton. Never go full Tim Burton.
Exactly.
I'm Tim Burton, and I want to do a full Tim Burton Catwoman woman movie. Like, no.
Get out now. You get out. Get out.
I want to do a.
I've heard of that script. No, thank you.
I want to do a full Tim Burton Catwoman movie with Eva Marie.
No, get out. Get the fuck out.
And I want to do a full Tim Burton Dr. Evil movie with Oni Rakaku as the character. No, he will enjoy that way too much.
No.
Lydia, I would like to capture Jim Cornette and ransom him for $4 million.
No one's gonna pay for that, honey. No.
Could be worse. You could try and badger George Lucas into do it. It's simple. We'll just do it all with the computers.
You beat me to it. I don't use sets. I use computers. That's a thing you gotta check. Hang on. I need to see if this is still on YouTube. How George Lucas would ruin. Is it still there? Oh gosh, it is as well.
Oh joy! I feel a viewing coming on.
We are going to make this the last one, folks, because we're kind of going over time here.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
This thing is freaking infamous.
Listen. I've seen Lord of the Rings movies. I think they're good. That shouldn't happen. Oh God.
With MailChimp, you can design.
No.
I'm just gonna let the commercial play a second. Oh.
That's my heart.
I'm at 0-0.
This thing. Oh
And
my gosh.
I got one more commercial. Hold on.
Give moment. Oh dear.
No more
Oh dear. I'm
Yeah.
gonna end up regretting this.
This thing. I didn't know this thing was still up there.
All right, I'm ready. Regrettably, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Hold on to your butts. Play.
Imagine if George Lucas directed Lord of the Rings. I bought the rights to everything. Imagine the lack of location shooting.
Darkest timeline.
Imagine the dependency on computers and the lack of innovation.
77.
On the screen. And thank heavens that didn't happen.
Well, when I first read the books, I mean, I respect Tolkien as a writer, but I didn't really think he captured Lord of the Rings the way I would have.
We thought that when you're making a movie on the scale of Lord of the Rings, the first step to take is to keep as untrue to the novels as possible. So we bought a room, I met with George, and after a long time, we finally agreed that this pleasing fan
No, you were not!
to contradict Tolkien would be risky, but overall, I think the best route that we could have taken.
So I sat down to start this. I got a big, kind of a room with a fireplace, and I wrote Frodo. When I realized, we don't need a script. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, you needed a script as well as actors and props and all that kind of stuff. But this is the digital age. We have computers and electricity and money. We don't need a script. So we threw that idea right out the window.
Oh God,
So
no,
Frodo,
no.
our Hobbit hero, I decided he should be about 9 years old. And I think Frodo is kind of gritty,
Why? Why
suburban
should Frodo be 9 years old?
And I thought that would give him leeway to
No.
mature throughout the 3 films, even though everyone else would stay the same age. So you know what I know, we cast Jake Lloyd. Jake brings Frodo to life with a presence I've never seen in an actor.
My mom called me.
Oh,
she said,
dear.
George called again and said,
Because
I get to use the
George
sword,
Lucas,
and that's
why.
what I wanted to do last time, was use a lightsaber. And I get to race again, I don't know what, but my sister
can we
Haley
not?
said if you can be Darth Vader, you can be a
Can we
Hobbit.
not?
So, Legolas will be played by Hayden Christensen. He struck gold in episode 2, and he's going to make lightning strike in Lord of the Rings. Watch out, world. Hayden's coming to town. I mean, if you look into those eyes, there's so much.
I know Orlando Bloom didn't
going
do his
on there,
best
you
in
know?
Lord of the Rings.
We're gonna
but
call
no.
him George.
Why does he look stoned?
Hayden,
Why does he look
I need
stoned?
you.
Wait a
And
minute.
I said,
I think that may
"What?"
be just the
And
animation.
he said, I need you to play Legolas in Lord of the Rings. And I said, okay, George.
my brain
That's
make
who
it
you
stop.
want.
Also, he's coming back for
So we got all the best guys.
Obi-Wan
I got
Kenobi.
some guy named Viggo Mortensen to play Aragorn. My friend Francis Ford Coppola suggested I use Marlon Brando as Gimli. I said, whatever.
Ooh.
Playing Merry Pippin. Let's see. Oh, Gandalf will be entirely computer generated. Because I think Gandalf needs to be limitless, kind of a free character. And anyone else we don't cast will be Jar Jar.
Oh!
I
Oh,
don't
Jar
use
Jar is
locations, I
Gandalf?
have computers.
No, can we not?
So George creates this surreal blue screen world for his actors.
Hello?
Action.
And originally for the Star Wars I was involved in, the real ones, we attempted to do as little shooting as possible. We eliminate the props factor, the sets, the actors.
The
and
animation for
cost
this is
effective.
reminding me of
You
the
know, all
early
those
days of
things that were so
Newgrounds.com.
important for the schedule.
I'm getting that vibe
I've never
too.
seen anyone direct quite
Kind
like
of
George.
reminds me of the animation.
He's in
that
there
used
getting
in World's
elements.
Craziest
You know,
Fools
the
for
blue screen
phone
element, the
conversations.
green screen element. He dresses actors in green or blue chroma costumes to get their element.
There we go.
I mean, every element that he has inside his giant head. I mean, he really puts a lot of thought into it.
I pay very close attention to the intricacies. The real.
We manage the money, we manage the finances, we manage the economics.
Displeased fans in millions.
Or whatever do you want.
Since the original trilogy, I've been a big fan for years, and so I've always dreamed of working with George Lucas. But now that I'm here, and the blue screens are just so overwhelming, I haven't even been on set yet. They made me dress in a blue costume.
my
and a
God.
blue room. I didn't know what I was doing. George wasn't even directing. He wasn't even there. Christopher Lee was playing Saruman, and he was the only other sane person on set.
I've been in a lot of movies. Oh, hundreds. I thought it would be a wonderful experience to work on several movies directed by George Lucas, especially Lord of the Rings, which I've loved for such a long time. But the man is very peculiar. I've only met him twice. He's not very supportive. The other day they dipped me in blue paint nude, said they'd fix it at the computer. It's a very interesting way to make a film. Certainly not a good way.
I love George.
I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
He's my new dad.
I need an
I loathe that man.
Well, it's tough to really talk about
just hit yourself in the head with a hammer.
because I guess there never really was a pre. We were always very conscious of post-production costs and money, but the facilities we have at ILM and Skywalker Ranch really allow us to kind of, do whatever we want to do. We want Jar Jar, Jar Jar's there.
No,
And
we
it's
don't want
so
Jar Jar.
important for the schedule and money.
I have such a wonderful imagination since, the heyday of filmmaking. So I thought, with this new technology, we don't have to do all plot. We can have a little bit of fun, too. So because Lord of the Rings is so dark and sometimes can get very serious, I decided that during the Battle of Helm's Deep, there should be a shot of a banana slapping itself in the face.
When
Why?
George Banana Project, or what we've nicknamed Project Dole, it forced us to take it to the next level. We presented a test to George, and that allowed us to say...
Some would say that George is a
Oh,
What are our limitations?
old screensavers from the 2000s.
And we smacked it,
Ugh.
and smacked our faces. Scanned that,
Where are
in,
the pipes?
manipulated
Where are
it,
the pipes?
turned it, rendered it, and that's when we
Is
could
that
go
a
back.
banana?
add
Yes.
The eye gestures and the bruises. That's what matters.
I
to
repeat,
us.
not
Just those little things.
not
that
a
make all
very
the difference.
fruitful decision.
And I thought it
Ugh.
Ah.
If I was an affiliate, you'd be paying me bits right about now.
If we were on Twitch.
I'm the kind of
Might be for
director
next
who likes to
season.
Really
Not
turn
confirmed
things
yet.
around, mix them up, give the audience something they can kind of play with and turn around on, and really just kind of hold and just do a lot of stuff like that.
What's the man talking about?
It was just so wonderful.
I'm just so privileged to have brought my expertise of eyes to this project. I mean, George really has those eyes, of a really dedicated, passionate retina.
I don't mean to insult, but there's no need for this silliness. The man once was a filmmaker, but lost his abilities a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. He takes films that mean a lot to fans and people from the era, and turn them into experiments for revolutionary recognition, and there's no need. The puppets would certainly suffice. This computer stuff is awfully stupid looking.
I'm so happy I was given this project. I just love Token and the money I've made off
Well,
of it.
really, dude,
I think
because
I'll
no one
really
else
release
was.
a box set and sell it for way too much and not let people know that it would be cheaper to buy each individually. And that'd be pretty fun.
This interview done?
Oh my god.
Alright, let's go make some money. Some sweet green.
Yeah.
I think we broke lids.
Oh, this was out 11 years ago.
And if this is the first time I've seen this thing. Oh my god.
What have people said in the comment section? I need to see this.
Oh dear.
The only thing Sean has said, do you think Willem Dafoe would make a good Joker? Never ever let that man near that role.
He'd have way too much fun with that.
No, I mean, I've seen Photoshop images of Dafoe as the Arkham version of Joker, and it's just like, no, that's too that's too uncannily accurate.
Now you've gonna put images in my head now.
Ah, damn it, Roshi.
Okay, I think I'm good. Oh god.
Raiden's been broken.
Oh god.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard him laugh this much since the Karen reaction.
Oh, you beat me to it! Sean says, I miss Flash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when, that's where people mostly went to for entertainment before YouTube was newgrounds.com. But more people have started going back to Newgrounds because people who were posting a lot of, when I say risque art on Tumblr, I'm not referring to anything that's illegal. It'd be like people that would, post a lot of their adult cosplays over there and what have you, and they, Newgrounds just said, you're welcome to come over here because, Tumblr is, I don't know, Tumblr's just like very, very mirrored from what it used to be, because Tumblr was one of those very few places where you could say and do what you wanted within the confines of the law, and there'd be, everything'd be fine. But ever since they decided to go like Facebook and Twitter and go woke, people have just lost the plot with it, whereas Newgrounds are just like, come on over.
They don't care, they just do that.
Well, it always goes back to what I say about anything. As long as it's legal, where's the problem? As long as you're not crossing any lines illegally, do what you want. But yeah, that was a video that my brother showed me years ago, and it is something that I think Lucas would have done, because when you look at the sort of production that he did with the original Star Wars trilogy, everything was done practically. But then you see him do the Star Wars prequels and everything's done on a green screen. And I'll give the man credit for this, because it's like I've said so many times in the last few years. If you look at movies in the 80s and 90s that are done on the green screen, years later, the trained eye can tell the difference between what's chroma keyed and what's actually there. Whereas now, chroma keying has gotten to that point where you can't tell the difference. I mean, you look at Avengers Endgame where they're walking into the aircraft hangar, that's all chroma keyed. Whereas you look at 2001's Jurassic Park 3 where they're doing the hand gliding things, like, yeah, that's such an obvious blue screen in the background. And
or dare I mention Birdemic?
No, please, no.
Yeah. Anything but that.
And this is the thing with the first two Back to the Future movies. I don't get on their case because that was the technology that, was available to them at the time. When you see Marty's hand fading in the first one, yeah, you can tell it's superimposed, but again, they didn't quite have the lighting that we have now, where they can dial it up to the level where it doesn't burn, it doesn't, get too hot, but it's lit to such a degree where they're able to superimpose it properly and make it look like it's an actual hand on the set. And same thing when future Marty, or Part 2 Marty versus Marty 1955 are in the same scenes, you can tell which one is superimposed. because the lighting and the contrast don't add up. So I don't get on those movies' cases because that's what was available. If it was a case of they had today's tech available then and they put in a shoddy effort, then that's down to the lack of effort on the crews and the producers half. But yeah. So I think because we've gone over time, we'll just get our thoughts and opinions of what would happen if George Lucas tried to make Lord of the Rings with Jar Jar, because Jar Jar's in everything. Steve, as the Jedi Master, thoughts on the parody?
Funny, but in regards to some of the other things, no.
You do that too well. Okay. Litz.
It was a funny video, but the kind of shit that was talked about kind of broke me. Considering the fact, let's put 3GR here or not. I'm like, no. None of that. Shame on you. Just no. And I'm so glad that it was Peter Jackson and not George Lucas that had the hand on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Don't get me wrong, The Hobbit didn't need to be a trilogy, but that's a different tangent for another day. But George Lucas, stop it. Get some help.
Please do.
Yeah.
Raiden.
Oh my god. I don't know what to think with that shit. I don't know if we get like fucking freaking Jar Jar or whatever, but I feel like it would just honestly, if Lucas would do freaking Lord of the Rings, oh god, you're gonna need more LSD.
Oof. Especially if you had Jar Jar in Lord of the Rings, like, no. Gosh dang. I'm not even gonna repeat half the lines that Jar Jar says because that'd just be so impolitically correct coming from me. Now, here's the thing. Jar Jar as a character, the way he's portrayed, he's more or less harmless. He's just a nice guy that wants to help. It's just the dialogue he is given. I think if they had toned out some of the dialogue that would be considered politically incorrect and by extension tiny bit racist, the character would probably be remembered in a better context. But it's just the material the actor was fed. And I got no issues with the actor because the actor was just doing what he was paid to do. He's just there just to do a job. So my issue is not with him. My issue is with Lucas, because if Star Wars Episode 1 was made today, I wouldn't blame 20th Century Fox and by extension Disney if they come and say, no, you are not making this character say that. But by extension, Disney in their past, there's a little movie, I think it's The Sound of the South, that they don't want people to remember.
Song of the South.
I just want to check something real quick. So I want to see who made this particular movie. Oh no, I thought Blazing Saddles was like a Fox thing, but no, it was actually done by Warner Brothers. So imagine if Disney had acquired the rights to that. It's like, oh
no.
That is one.
Give it time.
That is one movie. If I ever get round to reviewing, that is gonna be that is going to be so trimmed down. It's like there's so much stuff I would either have to censor or just cut out. It's like, can't touch this. Sean just said Jar Jar is the true Sith Lord. Darth Jar Jar. Oh dear. Alright. We've gone over time. But some of it's been worth it. And like I say, I wasn't planning to do the Lord of the Rings by George Lucas, but you know, it was just one of those. I happened to remember it, and it's like, yeah, let's go revisit that. And poor Raid is like, it's like Steve said, I haven't heard a reaction from him like that since the Karen trailer. Oh dear. Alright. On that note, folks, that's the end of this week's episode. Next week, we will have the preview to the review of Out of the Shadows, and it will be the conclusion of Turtlevember. You know, little series that started back in 2019 with the review of the first two Turtle movies, of which I do recall Raiden being very grateful for that first one, because as ever when I do these previews, most of the time they have no idea what is coming along, and Raiden's reaction to this day it's still something to behold, folks, because he was basically, you know, it was like his birthday, because he just hears Raph going, damn, and then hearing the music go in. And if I recall correctly, you said you were having a bit of a low week, and that actually picked you up.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that.
Well, I was actually glad I was actually able to do the review I was able to, because that was around the time I had actually bruised my ribs. And so just to be able to do the review the way I was able to do so was actually good for me. Because here's the thing. Once I'm sat down, I'm fine. You know, I should say I was fine in the context, because here's the thing, if you bruise your ribs, there are certain movements when you're walking, or don't even think about lifting anything up, or forget that. That's no bueno. But when you're sat down, and you know, just to be able to do things vocally like I'm doing right now, I'm absolutely fine, because editing, not a problem. I was able to get on with the job and just do it just fine. But was that healing period of, you know, whilst I was at work, because I couldn't lift up anything heavy, I couldn't push carts around for a little bit, because my doctor just said, no, that's not happening. So podcast and regular duty wise on the channel, it was as business as normal. It was only when I got to the end of November, where I was something like 5 to 6 weeks healed. Pardon me, that's the monster talking again. I was actually just able to resume light duties a little bit, because here's the thing. In any injury, even if you feel like you're 100%, trust me, you might not be quite. When I say not quite there, I mean in the context of being 100% recovered. So even if you're like 85 or 90%, still take it easy. And when doctors say, you know, do it steadily, they know what they're talking about. So yeah. Also, I hope no one ever bruises, or even worse, breaks their ribs, because I had a slight appreciation for what CM Punk went through in 2014 when he broke his ribs, because you know, you can't train, you can't work out, forget that. But then again, that was just like the tip of the iceberg of all the things that he was suffering with. And one family member, they will remain nameless, when I happened to mention about CM Punk could almost have died from a staph infection, they said, there's no such thing as a staph infection, you're making it up. And I went and Googled it, it's like, making it up, huh? Because as Punk said in that Art of Wrestling, look up staph infections, they're nothing to mess with. Because keep in mind, this man could have died from it. But, and here's the thing, if Punk had died, ooh, that would have not looked good for Vince.
No, absolutely not.
But it just proves to you, for, you know, even further, why there needs to be a change in that company. It needs to happen. Because, I mean, you look at, you know, what's happened over the years with the likes of Owen Hart, Benoit. The thing is, though, with Benoit, and, you know, I'm being objective with this, Benoit had been taking shots to the head, even in ECW and WCW, because he had said he'd had so many concussions over the years that he forgot about it. And it's... I'll probably catch a bit of flack for this, but I feel like this needs to be said objectively. I'm partially sympathetic with Benoit's situation, because the state of mind he was in, because when his brain was scanned, he had the brain, you know, the brain equivalent health of that of a 91-year-old Alzheimer's patient. He wouldn't have known what he was doing until it was too late. So it's still, you know, he still did what he did, but he was not in control of his faculties. So on that one, objectively, you have to look at it 50-50. Yeah, I think history will still make him accountable, but at the same time, if a person doesn't know what they're doing, or they're not in control, I mean, if you have an Alzheimer's patient knocking something over, yeah, okay, you go and say, don't be like that, but they're not in control of what they're doing. So again, it depends how you look at it. And on that note, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in. We've gone over a little bit, but the Lord of the Rings thing I felt was kind of necessary. That'll make for some amusing highlight reels later. Be like, imagine like the highlight reel, the best of how far we broke Raiden. Karen, Lord of the Rings by George Lewis. Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Or the best of how we broke Lydia. Oni Rikaku at SummerSlam 2011. Oh no. Mulligan! But I will say this right now. Fuck Kelly Kelly and her hypocritical ass. Fuck her fanboys, fangirls, whatever. We've heard lids broken before, but good lord. Like, her first was like, honey! And he's like, later, see him in the chest, like, oh, lovely, it's my older material. Yeah, and the stuff that he said about the Spanish announcers table, which we're not going to repeat in here because we can't say that in this day and age. Like, no. No. So yeah, thanks for tuning in this week, folks. I have been the Knight, saying good night from the night. Stephen.
Bye.
Yeah.
Don't forget to buy Kaiju Noir's comic.
And check out MJ Knight's Teespring page.
And check out Oni Rikaku on Twitch. Yeah, you can say it better than I can. My brain's not working.
Twitch.tv/Onirakaku.
Thank you.
And give him all the subs and bits.
Give him in 2022 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscriptions, and 1,000 bits per week. It's like, are you trying to make me lose my mind? Oni? Yeah, I heard it. Good night, folks, and don't watch Survivor Series. Seriously.
Nah.
Watch Survivor Series in the last 20 years, yes. This evening's nah.
Watch Paint Dry. It's a lot more entertaining.
And go subscribe to be a student at Raiden's dojo. He will make you lose that L.
Yeah.
Master, I've been influenced too much by Paul Feig. What must you do? My student, you must come to my dojo. I will release the L from you and instill the W into you. And there he is, sort of like that maniacal sort of smile, rubbing his hands together. Oh yes, 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 yes. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.